So in this problem, we're trying to determine what the angle of elevation is for a ramp. We know that a ramp is loading equipment from a dock to a ship. The ramp is 10 feet long and the ship is 6 feet higher than the dock. So if we have a dock, we have a ship here, we have our dock. So let me kind of sketch this dock here. So we have a dock, and then we have some sort of ship that is not a very good dock there, but there's some sort of ship, and there's a ramp that goes up to that ship. So I'm going to redraw this with just the ramp here so it's more clear. So we have our ramp that's going up to the ship. And we know that the ship is 6 feet higher, so this will be 6 feet here. And the ramp is 10 feet long, 10 feet long. So that means that the ramp, what we're going up, this would be the 10 feet here. We want to know the angle of elevation. Well, our angle of elevation is right here. It's from the base up. So we want to find this angle here. When we're trying to find an angle, the first thing that we should do is identify our opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse sides. So the 10 feet should be our hypotenuse, it's the longest side. This 6 feet here is the opposite, as it's not touching the angle. And the other side here at the base is adjacent, since it's touching the angle x. Now, to calculate this missing angle measure, we want to use the two sides that we know the length of. We know this is 6, and we know this is 10. So that's the opposite and the hypotenuse. So what that means, I know that the sine of x is going to be equal to the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. I know that. So how can we find the angle measure? Well, the inverses are how we can work backwards. So what that means, if we look here at this, if I go to the functions, we'll find the inverse. So if I write this out, what that means is sine inverse of sine inverse, of our ratio, 6 over 10, will equal our angle measure. So when I'm trying to find an angle measure, if I use the inverse, I can put in the ratio 6 divided by 10, and that will give me the angle measure. So the angle measure is 36.8. And we can confirm this. So another way we can confirm is using a different trig ratio. So we don't have all three sides, but we can calculate this adjacent side by using the Pythagorean theorem. And if we did that, we would get a length here of 8. So I could use, for example, cosine. So what I would know is I know that cosine of x is equal to the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So that means that the inverse of cosine of 8 over 10 will also give me my angle, the same angle measure. So if I go here, I use the inverse of cosine and put in the ratio of 8 divided by 10, I get the same degree measure because we're getting the same reference angle. So our angle measure is 36.8.